We've been talking about the coming storms in BC. Let's focus now on the storms that happened in Atlantic Canada. Those are creating concerns now about supply shortages. Parts of Newfoundland received record rainfall, and they were hammered by high winds as the storm battered that province. In Nova Scotia, the Premier estimates the cost of cleanup is going to be around $7 million and that it could take weeks, taking us into December. So for more on this, we are joined by Terry Drohan. He's a homeowner in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Thank you for being with us today.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
We've been looking since the storm hit at pictures from Cape Breton, one of the hardest hit areas during the storm. You know, your home also suffered some damage. What does it look like?
Basically, my entire basement filled up, and there's considerable damage. Still not sure how much the insurance companies are going to cover. But it was a devastating loss. I went through this already 5 years ago in the Thanksgiving Day flood, where I lost my home and all my possessions. And so this is the last place that I wanted to be 5 years later, especially considering the fact that our government had secured money back 5 years ago to mitigate the flooding. And unfortunately, our local council here has been sitting on it and postponing the progress of that work. And I really think that this last flood, much of the damage could have been alleviated if the funding had been spent and the projects put forward.
I want to ask you about that. Do you think municipality did enough to protect homes like yours after that last flood?
Absolutely not. July of 2018, funding was in the bank. They had a professional engineering report that analyzed every aspect of every possible scenario of mitigating the flooding, and environmental engineers, a large company that had expertise in flooding worldwide, provided the recommendations, and unfortunately some council members and our mayor who were sympathetic with people in the area concerned about damage to forests, they've been postponing it basically for the last 3 years, and based on the fact that they thought that it was a 1 in 1,000 year storm, and unfortunately the 1 in 1,000 year storm is now turned into a 1 in 5 year storm. So I don't understand it, because there's, considerable damage to infrastructure within our city. Homeowners are suffering from the flooding again, and all the stress and anxiety and financial burden because of that. There's a church that falls along the area that floods on a regular basis that, had $1 million in damage in the last flood in 2016. I don't understand why they're stalling proceeding with this. The contractors have the equipment, everything's ready to go, and yet they keep putting it off.
Terry, we're just about out of time, but before we go, I just want to find out what is next for you. This is the second time you've been through a flood where you've lost possessions, things that are precious to you. What's your cleanup effort?
Well, right now I'm waiting to hear back to find out if insurance is going to cover repair of my basement. I love the neighborhood. I'm counting on our government, local government, to proceed with getting the work done to mitigate the flooding, and I really think that that's the only step that's going to take that stress off of homeowners. I plan on staying here and rebuilding again, and this time, like I said, it was only my basement, so it's not as bad as it was 5 years ago. But hopefully we'll get that work done, and we'll relieve a lot of stress on local homeowners.
Listen, Terry, I know you have a lot going on, and there is a lot of stress, a lot of things to figure out. So I appreciate you taking the time with us this morning. And, as we take a look at flooding issues right across this country, municipalities like yours that are hit, as you say, not once every 100 years, but once every 5 years, there's going to be some changes that are coming. Thanks so much, Terry.
I hope so. Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.